Well, it's the third week of LCS with coverage brought to you by Alienware. It's the second day here. I'm joined right now by Damonte to talk a little bit about their game against TSM. A tough game, Damonte. Where did things go so wrong?
Um, sure. I think there's a lot of things wrong with that game, be it draft or gameplay or just like a lot of different stuff. I think didn't really go our way. I think like stuff that we thought before the game maybe didn't hold so true inside of the game. So I would say maybe our preparation was not too great for that game. And yeah, pretty much that.
I think a lot of people are trying to figure out what happened with TSM because they've suddenly become this team that everybody did not think they were for I guess the beginning of the year. So what do you think it is? Are they actually just playing like way out of their mind now, or is it just that are they getting lucky? I mean, what is happening with this team?
Uh Playing against them, I feel like I'm playing against like Clutch Gaming or something, kind of. But like I feel like they're just doing the same thing every game. They stopped playing Huni and they just play the bot lane now. And then they get their bot lane to come to Herald at 8 minutes, and then they go to Herald, they take the Herald, and then as soon as they get the Herald, they win early game, and then they just run around and do stuff. And if it like literally their jungler just AFK farms, and then their laners usually farm, just play well in their lanes, right? Like this game I roamed top early. We destroyed Huni. Like Huni was down like 40 CS this game, and top was super one sided. But like on the opposite side of the map, I think our bot lane was having a tough time in the matchup, and they basically used their bot lane prow to come to Herald, and it didn't even matter at 8 minutes that we had any kind of lead on top lane because they were 5 versus 3 on the Herald, right? And I think that could be considered like a mistake on our own part that we didn't rotate our own bot lane up and fight with our top advantage, which is something that we'll definitely like be addressing later, right? But yeah, I feel like they're just playing like very standard macro, and they're not making many mistakes, And yeah, I mean they played really solid.
Okay, but you also knew what they were going to do, apparently, right? Like, if you knew that they were going to go to Herald, was it just a situation where it's like they put you in such a position that you couldn't necessarily contest Herald, or you couldn't counter what you knew they were going to do, or was it just an idea where like the strategy that you guys had decided on was not enough to overcome, their plans?
See, I think this is where like we are unable to blame the draft because we messed up a lot in our planning there. We basically didn't have an answer to them going to Herald, right? Usually if you're gonna give a Herald, you're gonna get a bot turret or bot plates, and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, it's fine. Like our ADC is gonna get a couple waves and some tower gold, right? And they're gonna get the Herald, and that's like the trade-off, right? But in this game, we didn't really have an answer, and that's where a lot of the blame will come to the players because if there's no answer to their play, then we're just gonna kind of sit there and watch them win the game, which is kind of what it felt like for us. We kind of just like watch them win is how that game felt, and that's definitely not a feeling that we have had. I want to say almost ever. Usually, like I feel like we're doing like if we're gonna lose, right? We're gonna lose very fast or something. Like we're just gonna fight them. But it felt like we couldn't do anything after we made those couple mistakes, and then I mean, circling back to the beginning, right? I think there were like our draft was pretty hard to play if we're not ahead in like winning lanes.
So when you go back to Zix, there's no chance for you to say, "What the hell, Zix?" You instead he's just like, "That's on you guys." That's how that game went down.
I mean, if we lose, then it's always the coach's fault because that
Okay,
takes away the stress,
I
So,
gotcha. Okay.
fucking Zix,
So today, even though it wasn't a draft issue, it was still his fault.
of course.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. I obviously wanted to also ask you about some stuff you've been memeing about online. I know you've mentioned even in my Twitch chat concerns about potentially working for a popular fast food chain in the near future, and sort of seeing you react to a lot of the funny memeing that's been going on. I don't know. I don't know how much of this is like it's just a fun meme for you versus how much of it is you're like, this is concerning. So I'm kind of curious what your take is, especially because I think of you a lot with this because you're an NA mid, and the mid lane has already been frozen out so frequently by imported players. So I'm curious.
I think a lot of the stuff I'm doing on social media is definitely just memeing. I think like the stuff that I see on social media just is kind of mind blowing if I'm being honest. Like I just like see some stuff and I'm like, what the hell? Like someone is actually tweeting this. But besides the point, My
Now, would
personal
that be an
take.
owner you're referring to, or
Nah,
just
just everyone,
I
everyone.
gotcha. Okay, okay.
Like seriously, everyone is like taking so many wild takes on everything. But my personal opinion, right, as an NA mid laner, who this is like very this is very relatable to me. Everything that's being talked about, I think no matter what, if you are good enough, you're gonna have a starting position. And if you don't have that mentality, especially as a player, I think it's just wrong. Like no one is supposed to give you a job. No one is supposed to just hand you something, right? I think like my come up was during the age of there being 8 to 9 imports in the scene, right?
Yeah.
And I still managed to find my way in, right? So I think if you make yourself valuable and you show that you're good enough, you're gonna have a job nonetheless.
So are you? So if that's the case, it sounds like you would not care if the import rule got lifted, because you feel like you're confident enough in your own abilities that you'd be able to still secure a position.
Yeah, for sure. I think if it got lifted, like what can I do? I'm just a player. I just have to follow the rules, right? It's just it's gonna be like new terrain that I have to figure out how to manage, and I'll have to figure out how to be useful in that situation.
Yeah, that's very good. Um, Interesting because I had not expected that take. I've yet you're the first player that I've heard who's like, if it happens, it happens. That you seem fairly apathetic towards it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like at the end of the day, I just don't really care. I feel like I just like I don't really have any power over the situation anyways, so I'm just gonna do the best I can as an individual. I mean, I do think it's just like if it feels like it's a lot based on I'm trying to like navigate my words
You
very
know, it's fine. It's fine. It's
well
fine.
here. Yeah. So I don't know. I just would like to see more investment and more focus on actually helping people get better before we jump to these conclusions of, oh yeah, let's just open up all the import rules. Like for instance, literally the academy for spring split, they played 9 regular season games and now the top 6 teams are off for like 5 weeks. I think it's ridiculous. I think that's like so silly. These players only got to play 9 matches. That's what's 9 times 30? They played like 5 hours worth of professional League of Legends in what the first 3 months of the year. I think that's really bad.
Yeah. Do you mentioned that you feel like there's not much that you can do about it, or there's nothing you can say about the rule? Do you not feel like the Players Association could say anything right now about it or do anything?
I mean, I
I mean, I get it, but I have to ask, right? Because they're like,
yeah.
it's a bad situation if the players feel like they have absolutely no voice within the league, right?
Yeah, I agree. And it's not something I really thought about before I said that, right? And unfortunately, I don't really I'm very ignorant on this current situation
No,
with
no, it's
the
fine.
Players Association.
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't really know what's going on with the Players Association. I do know that the Players Association went through a management change. I think
yeah,
the old owner Hal Biagas is not there anymore, and I don't know exactly what what the situation is with that either. But yeah, I don't know. I yeah, like my take still stands. Like whatever happens, like I'm just gonna navigate myself. You know, I'll figure out how to make myself useful.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's look, I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything either, even though perhaps that's exactly how it feels. It's more just it's more just like like obviously we've seen what the owners have to say. Other coaches and folks have weighed in. You are one of the only people that I have seen, even if it is just a meme, say anything on Twitter. So, it felt like a good opportunity to ask you if you had any opinions. So I do appreciate it. Other than
For
that,
me, wait,
oh
I got one thing. I just
yeah,
like Vulcan is standing up for himself or standing up for everyone. Honestly, I'd love to see that. So honestly, when I saw that, I just felt like I had to get in there as well. You know, have
yeah,
his back because it is important that the players have a voice. You know, and I think it's bad if the players feel like they can't have one. So
yeah.
I love to see what like Vulcan said, what he did, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know Vulcan did it. I saw Revenge do it, and I don't know. I think some other people have maybe made some jokes or whatever. But it's been interesting to sort of see. I think this for me is one of the first times I've seen the players be confronted with a situation that is like so public and so unique to the situation, right? So, is there anything that you would like to say, Damonte, to any of the 100T fans out there?
Yeah, one thing I would like to say is that every championship team loses games, and I don't think losing a regular season game in spring split deters us from the end goal and just focusing on the day to day. And you win some, you lose some, and we'll be back stronger tomorrow.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Damonte, for the interview. I really appreciate it. And for everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports right here on my YouTube channel. Hey, Alienware lets me say whatever I want in these. And so one of the things I've been talking about in my outros, just go hit up a pro player that you're a fan of or somebody in the space that does something cool and let them know that you appreciate them. Maybe just tweet at them or show up in their Twitch chat or say something on Instagram or whatever. That stuff goes a long way. And I can say something like this because Alienware gives me such free reign in my outros that I don't think that they'd have an issue with me kind of shouting this out. So if you want to check out their products, and they sponsor everything I do here, you can check out the link in the description. But again, check it out. Go do something cool on their site, and then go find a pro player or somebody in the space that you think is doing some cool stuff and let them know that you like what they do and give them a shout out.